Hey, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source.
We're here in New York City and we have invaded the Sound Collective. Rest in peace to DJ Never, Never Forever. That's our brother.
I'm your host, DJ Crooked. We have Brooklyn's beloved DJ Goldfinger in the building.
Yo, what up, world?
So we got a special guest. I got a call from Atlanta OG. DJ Mars, Usher's DJ.
Yes, sir.
Doing big things, been doing big things. He calls me up and he says, next time you're on the East Coast, I got to get this DJ on your podcast. And I was just like, all right. So I'm like, we connected. And he's originally from New York. Mm-hmm. He's made his way to Atlanta. And he has the biggest Amapiano party in the A right now. It's called Bomba Tuesdays. I got to welcome the fly Haitian in the building, DJ Kash. Kash, what's good?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm hype. I'm a fan of the show, so I'm hype.
I'm glad you're here, man. You're originally from Brooklyn?
Yeah, I'm from like the Brighton Beach, Coney Island area. Yeah.
So
that's how you know I'm not lying, because nobody ever claims that area. nobody ever claims that. You know what I'm saying?
Shit, man. And you were saying you used to go to BeatStreet?
Yeah. Like, yo,
this is news to me.
Bro, I'm telling you, the most humbling experience as a DJ starting off was going to BeatStreet, to be real with you. Because I'm there with I used to go to school literally like around the block.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Western House was like literally around the block. So, I save up my little lunch money and then, after school, get my little records. I used to go there with get two records. And then guys like Clue will walk in and leave with with like a crate, bro. You know what I'm saying?
So what was humbling about going there?
Because it's like I'm there for two records, and Clue's coming in with
okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's coming in literally leaving damn there with a crate of records. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man.
But for those who don't know, BeatStreet was one of the legendary vinyl shops.
One of the biggest
record in New York. Yeah. It was in Brooklyn, and Goldfinger was the man in that building.
One of them.
I'm gonna tell funny story. Like talking about Bomba Tuesdays. Yeah. So you used to do Cheetah.
Yes.
See, the craziest thing, right? I met this guy by the name of Frank Jigga.
Oh wow.
Yo,
you know what I'm saying?
Rest in peace.
Frank seen me do a set and he was like, yo, you're nice. He was like, yo, I want you to do me a favor. It was on a Tuesday I used to do it.
No,
a Monday or Tuesday.
We did Mondays at one time, but basically it was Saturday.
It was a Monday.
He was doing it on Monday.
So I came there and you were DJing.
Get the fuck out.
You were DJing. Frank was like, I need you to come see my guy. And there's just certain things you just got to learn. So I went, watched you play. And originally, Bomba Tuesday was supposed to be on a Monday because of that party I went to at Cheetah. And I seen everybody in there partying, but the venue owner was like, how about you do it on a Tuesday, because my staff will be there. But I originally wanted Bamba to be on a Monday because of the party I seen you and Frank do at Cheetah.
All right, we did a Monday with this guy named Mustafa. He was one of the, it was he's like a Sudanese guy, something like that. He was doing a party on Monday at Cheetah we did it maybe 5-6 months. God.
Yeah. Frank.
That's crazy.
Frank kind of took me, he seen me play one time. He seen me play at this hood spot in the Bronx called R.O.A.D.
Really?
Yeah.
And that makes sense because he was from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And he would, wow, yo.
And he heard me play and he was like, yo, you actually really good. And he was like, you need to come hang out with me. And this is when he had the Escalade with the TV.
Yeah.
He came pick me up in the Escalade. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
He picked me up in his Escalade.
Damn,
he took me,
man.
he was spinning. And
Jesus.
And I was going to start my night on a Monday because I remember being in there and being like, yo, it's a Monday, bro.
And it was crazy.
And and I was like, it's a Monday. And it always stuck with me. So originally when I said I'm going to do my night, I wanted it to be on a Monday. But it ended up being on a Tuesday because of the venue. But yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
God bless you, Frank Jigga, man.
Shout out Frank Jigga.
You got deep roots in New York.
Yeah, I'm a real Brooklyn boy. Some people don't believe me, but because I've been in Atlanta for so long.
How long you been in Atlanta for now?
Almost 20 years.
Wow.
Oh wow.
It's about to be 20 years. Right out of college, I left. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. What made you go to Atlanta?
What area? What area you in?
When I first moved there, when I first got there, I was in the boonies, bro. I was in Covington. And I moved there. It's crazy. I graduated, went to see my sisters. My sisters had bought a house there. And then I went there for vacation and never left.
Wow.
Really?
Bro, I went there. I was meeting people. I met this kid. He was like, yo, you want to play ball or whatever? He lived like in the subdivision where my sisters live. And then he was like, I played ball, whatever, and then he was like, yo, come to the crib, we're gonna hang out, whatever. And I went to the crib, and we was there with all his homies and stuff. And then he was like, I'm like, what time your parents come home? You know what I mean? Cause we the same age. I'm like 23 or something like that, maybe 24. And he's like, my parents, he like, this is my crib. I'm like, you own this crib? And he's like 23, 24. I was like, I'm never going back. Right. I was like, yo, bro, I'm never going back, bro.
I don't blame you behind that shit. That's crazy.
What's good, everyone? This is P-Dot from Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast. Whether you're just discovering the podcast or a day one listener, if you've been loving the content and want more, here's your chance to support the pod, get closer to the action, and unlock exclusive content by joining our Patreon. For just $5 a month, you can join our Tier 1 R.O.A.D subscription. This is for our loyal listeners who want early access to new episodes 3 to 4 weeks ahead, your name in the credits of every video episode, and access to our exclusive R.O.A.D edits pack. For the hardcore supporters, we've got our Tier 2 R.O.A.D for Life subscription for just $10 a month. This is the all-in package. You'll get everything from Tier 1, plus a monthly bonus episode, early access to our exclusive R.O.A.D 10 and R.O.A.D Talk interviews, behind-the-scenes content, our In the Crate series, along with unreleased projects. This is your chance to support the podcast and get more of the content that you love. Join the family today at patreon.com/R.O.A.D podcast. Check the link in our descriptions. We appreciate you, and let's keep this journey going.
You know, it's like when you grow up in New York, it's almost impossible. You'll never be like, oh, I'm gonna own a property or my own house or condo, like
especially not at 23.
Yeah, I mean,
and he worked at Walmart.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yo, bro, like what?
So it was like just a land of opportunity in Atlanta.
I seen it because in college, like I was like the man in my school. I went to a college, small college, all the way up by like the Hamptons, called Dowling College by Stony Brook. And when I got there wasn't really no big parties and stuff, and no other schools would party with us. So like I remember it was like me on my side, and we had like Spider, shout out Spinfo from the Bronx.
Spinfo, shout out him.
And we was kind of like running that little college circuit, and I just remember thinking like, how much higher can I go once I get out of college? You know what I'm saying? And when I got to Atlanta, it was just, it's weird because I was so confident when I got to Atlanta, but dudes were not very inviting. Like, cause they were like, you're way too New York.
Oh wow.
You're way too Caribbean. It was like they weren't playing no Caribbean music, no New York stuff.
Right.
Like,
they had their wave. They was in the middle of their wave.
Yeah.
So
it's always like daunting when you grow up in New York, especially Brooklyn. And you go outside of New York, and New York is just, there's such a variety of music. It's like you gotta know dancehall, you gotta know some soca, you gotta know some salsa, merengue, reggaeton, hip hop, R&B, classics. You have to like really know your shit because there's just so many like different like people, all races.
I think that's a gift and a curse. Right?
It is,
because like I grew up like that, and I grew up boasting and being proud that I could play anything for any crowd, right? But this is an unpopular opinion of mine. Like I feel like for me, I started seeing success when I focused on one genre. Like when I stopped being the guy that can play everything,
right?
Because I started getting booked overseas and stuff like that. I was getting like big money. I don't have no record out, no nothing. Then I start meeting guys that are getting. I'm hyped because I'm getting 10,000 for a gig, so I'm hyped.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like 10,000 for a gig. I'm hyped. But then I'm talking to other guys and they're making 50. So I'm like, I started really breaking down like, what's the difference? Like, how come they're making
specialized? Yeah,
they're specialized in a specific genre. So then during the pandemic, I kind of like reset my whole vibe. I'm like, no more. I'm no longer the guy that plays everything. I'm picking one genre and I'm running with it. And Amapiano, I seen the wave because I was gigging in the Middle East a lot, and there were a lot of South Africans there, and they put me onto the wave in like 2019, and there was 0 Amapiano parties. First of all, I was hooked on it. Like I couldn't stop listening to it. So I was like, you know what? I'm switching to like Amapiano, like Afro-House. This is my wave, and I'm riding it out. Mind you, I'm on the radio, top radio spot, hit for hip hop.
Yeah.
Top radio station in the city. I got all the top slots, and I just said, I gave it all up.
Okay, let's talk about your history a little bit.
Okay.
Because Bomba Tuesdays, huge, like it's fucking huge Amapiano party. You know, like every Davido's been there. I'm sure there's tons of celebrities that go there.
Definitely.
Little Kim, Tiana Taylor. It's like the place to stop doing on a Tuesday. And we were talking earlier, like you said, it's organic. You're not trying to like get celebrities over there. They just know this is the spot to go to on a Tuesday.
Definitely. This is how it typically happens.
Yeah.
I show up to Bamba, chilling. I get there super early. You know what I mean? Make sure my guys are good, my staff is good, all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Then I usually get either the day before or like hours before I get a text. Hey, this is so-and-so. I'm trying to come through tonight. That's typically how it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love that everybody thinks like I have a great relationship with all these people, but I honestly don't. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I start to have a relationship after that because they have such a good time. They're like, yo, this is super different than anything in Atlanta because Atlanta is home of the trap.
All right, so was it like an influx of people from different countries coming in, or what started the wave? Like, what made that party possible?
Well, also like kind of break down the Atlanta scene.
Yeah,
because I was wondering, is there a large Niger community or South African community over there?
There's a large Nigerian community, not so much South African. They're there, but not as much as the Nigerians.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it like Niger communities gravitate to like Afro beats. Usually, right?
Yes.
And in South African Amapiano is a lot deeper. Mm-hmm. It's almost like deep house a little bit.
Right.
It's like deep dance music.
Right.
And versus Nigerian Amapiano, which is like more pop sometimes, right?
More vocal as well?
Yeah, more vocals.
Yeah.
They like Nigerians like are, and you correct me if I'm wrong because I'm speaking out of turn or whatever, but you can explain it better probably than I can. But Nigerians, they're just like really good at making pop hits, like because they've been doing years of Afro beats, and they've implemented it on Amapiano beats.
For sure,
kind of the same kind of formula.
It's
right?
dead on. It's dead on. So their stuff is more, even like the way they make their songs is more formatted for radio. It's like 8-bar intro. 16-bar.
So
verse.
It's more song verse and it's more vocal.
Yeah,
because Ama is more or less instrumental.
Yeah, and it's a house format. You're gonna have a.
Gotcha. It's like dance music,
right.
Gotcha. And it's like when you play Amapiano, it's like a slower build up, like house, but it's a lot slower.
Right.
Where you kind of got to play it from the beginning where it's low and then it builds up.
Gotcha.
But while it's like, if you're a great DJ, I'm a piano DJ, you can play with acapellas.
Exactly.
You can play with stems.
Gotcha.
And you can start building, you can end one song, let the stem acapella go through and then build up the next song. And then when it's heating up, you echo it or like,
Dead on.
echo it out.
Yeah.
And then boom, it hits and now you're in another groove.
Yep.
So you're DJing it very much like house.
Definitely.
But if you have like hip hop skills like you do, you're probably implementing all kinds of things.
But you got to be careful with that with Amapiano because Amapiano heads is like one of the it's like one of the few genres left that are like filled with purists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you have to play it a certain way. Like you can't just come in there and play it like it's hip hop or R&B or you have to play it a certain way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But to be honest, I didn't even like start it because there were like a lot of Africans. There's a lot of Africans in Atlanta. And what a lot of people don't know is the club scene in Atlanta, as we know it for the last like 20 years, was all those clubs were owned by Africans.
Right.
All of them. You know what I'm saying?
I heard about that.
Yeah.
But like they've owned it for decades, right?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. The last 20, 30 years of Atlanta nightlife has been owned by like all the clubs that you know about and hear about, and majority of them, 90%, owned by Africans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Owned by Africans.
So when you first moved to Atlanta, right? What was the scene like? You came there with like dance hall. You're Haitian too, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you came there with dance hall, probably reggae, hip hop, R&B, and you started DJing out there. And then how did you have to transition?
When I got to Atlanta was just really starting their wave.
It was like the snap era.
Yeah, 05. I got there 05. So like,
was it like kind of Rubber Band Man, Game Over?
Yeah, and like.
Flip?
See, at the time, there was a lot of things. Like, Jeezy was super popping.
Right. 2005, definitely.
Yeah, like, Jeezy was everywhere.
So does
like,
BMF. Still out
was
there.
everywhere.
Right.
Like, that era was, like, unreal. Like, it was unreal in the club. Like, DJs getting thousands from Meech just because. Like, thank you. Like, it was just unreal. But, like, the scene was very Atlanta. Like Atlanta really, when I got there, they didn't care about really anything else but Atlanta shit. Like, you know what I mean?
They knew they was popping.
I remember that was the time when New York DJs would go to Atlanta and they would bomb.
All the time.
Because they didn't know the Atlanta records.
All the time.
They had that old school late 90s, early 2000s, like, yo, we run this shit.
Yeah.
So they were dropping like New York shit in Atlanta, and Atlanta's like, yo, we ain't fucking with that New York shit. And then New York was like,
or they never heard it.
yeah, but New York would be like,
Or they never heard the New York shit.
But the New York DJs would come back to New York and be like, yo, Atlanta's whack. Like, yo, like the scene is whack out there, but they just weren't on top of that shit.
It's funny because I seen it all the time. And then you would have the guys who moved down there to try to
capitalize on.
Yeah. And they would, off one conversation with them, I would be like, you're not gonna make it.
Not at all.
Because they would come there with this New York bravado.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna run this. Oh yeah, dudes don't do this out here. I'm like, yeah, people don't do that out here
Because they don't want to.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
you're not the first person to think of this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, Atlanta is just very Atlanta, and it's when I got there, I just paid attention to that. Like I don't have to shove down I don't have to shove New York down their throat.
Right.
That's not what they want.
So like, all right, let's go through the mind of a DJ, a New York DJ moving to Atlanta. You got to humble yourself, right?
1000%.
I know, like any DJ moving to another city, you can't big dog a city. You
Definitely
have
not.
to kind of like do your research and start becoming a student and learning like the locations, the venues, the styles of DJing, the catalogs that have a presence in that city.
Gotta respect the turf.
You got to respect the turf. What are some of like the first few lessons that you learn going out and listening to DJs and like interacting and shit like that? Even with like how to move and who to align yourself with and blah, blah, blah.
I mean, the first thing I learned was one, like what we just spoke about, like Atlanta has its own sound. Like
Right.
I had to get familiar with the artists, the sound,
The language, the slang.
the lingo. Like it when I got there, like it was really its own world. It was like a culture shock.
What was the popping record at that time when you went there?
I think
And who was the number one DJ that you were just kind of studying?
Shoulder Lean was like the big record. I
That's
think.
crazy.
2004.
Yeah, Shoulder Lean was like huge. Like that was like, and
You actually went to Atlanta at the right time.
perfect, bro.
Right?
I think it was all divine timing, bro.
Yeah.
Like Shoulder Lean was on fire, and I used to watch 3 people. I used to watch DJ Nabs, Frank Ski, and there's a dude from the Bronx called Juggler, a Jamaican guy, and he was but the good thing I did was I didn't completely abandon my New York identity.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I found a pocket of New Yorkers who had like their own scene. So there was like Caribbean guys, like the Caribbean community had like their own. That's another thing I wasn't used to. Like the Caribbean scene and the hip hop scene were they never met.
Really?
Wow.
They never met.
This
bro.
is like the height of Sean Paul and everything, right?
Doesn't matter. That Sean Paul was not getting no play at Club Crucial.
Really?
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But that's the New York mindset, right? Because in New York, we are like, yo, Sean Paul, we're putting everything together.
No,
you know?
you couldn't do that. And
So like in a hip hop party, you would still run a dance hall set in New York. You had to run a dance hall set.
first of all, at that time, you couldn't even at a hip hop party. You couldn't even play New York hip hop. They weren't fucking with it.
None of it.
They weren't fucking with it. Like, bro, I'm talking about not at all.
Well, you got to remember, Atlanta, they was putting out so much stuff at that
It was
point.
crazy at that point.
They're competing for their own slots. So
Right.
just to have space for somebody else is like, come
But
on.
then, do you also have guys that are huge there that I never heard of, that can't walk down the street, that I never heard of, and I'm like,
So that's like
I
the
mean,
Gucci.
Dro
that's
was
like,
one of them.
That's like the Gucci Man era.
Yeah. Like Dro was one of them. I never heard of Dro when I got there. He had Shoulder Lean. I never heard of him, but his record was on fire. Dro couldn't walk down the street.
Wow.
He couldn't. Like it was just insane. Gucci, like
That's Shorty Low. That's
yeah, bro.
Gucci. All that whole era.
I found my little community I built from there. So I stuck with Juggler was really the guy that he kind of ran. He had a night called Gal Farm Thursdays that he still does, and it was at the famous Royal Peacock. And that's where like the Caribbean crew kind of hung out. You know what I mean? Excuse me. And the Royal Peacock is famous. Like it's on the most famous block. It's on Auburn Avenue, which is where it's the most famous block. It's like the birth of civil rights, almost like,
Wow.
So it's like that club is famous. It's like, it used to be a famous jazz club.
Right.
Where, all the
So it has some history.
right.
Like a landmark.
So I used to go there, and then from there, I would go play my reggae records, my New York records.
Was it like a weekly party?
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday. It was called Gal Farm Thursdays. He still does it to this day at a different club though, but
Crazy.
still does it to this day.
So when you was in New York, you came down from New York to Atlanta, and you were like, "I'm gonna DJ." So like, you brought your stuff.
No, I stayed. My plan was to stay for a week. Then a week turned into 2 weeks.
And you were still on vinyl, right?
Yeah.
This is the vinyl days.
So 2 weeks turned into a month. Then my sister was like, "Yo, you might as well she just said the quiet part out loud. Like,
Right.
bro, you might as well just stay." You know what I mean? So I was like, "You're right." So then I came back at the time. And the thing was, I was doing great as a DJ. I was making money. I had a Suburban, at that time,
Right.
Funk Flex with the big truck series.
Right,
And I had a
right.
Suburban with a system in it. I came, got my Suburban, packed it up with all my equipment. I barely took even clothes. I just packed it with equipment.
Right.
Drove back to Atlanta, and then I was like, I'm gonna start getting busy.
So what were you doing in New York? Like, where were you at in New York? Mostly Brooklyn spots, uptown, Bronx?
College parties.
Doing the college
College parties.
All college parties. I was doing I was doing all right.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I was doing great. Like, I was doing great. I was doing great. You know what I'm saying? I was doing all that stuff ignorant New York, Brooklyn kids does. I was buying chains. I had a nice car. Like, I was doing okay.
Wow. And then, but something in Atlanta, the opportunity of like, you were just inspired. Like, I could maybe buy a house. I could. What was it?
It was just something I never seen or never even heard of before. Like, I was going there, I seen like black police chiefs, black district attorneys, black
Right.
judges, black cops. Like, the owners of all these clubs were black.
Right.
Like, it was just like black. It was the definition of black excellence for me. And I was just
Right.
like, something in my mind, my heart, my body was just like, I'm supposed to be here, bro. Like,
Right.
I'm supposed to be here. Like,
A lot of people in New York didn't really catch on to Atlanta, and like, the Olympics, of course, in '96, but like 2003 when they had the All-Star game, everybody kind of caught the buzz of what Atlanta was doing. Like, they had motion. So a lot of cats didn't catch on to the music, but when they went down to All-Star in 2003, it was like, yo, they fucking rocking, and they not rocking none of our shit.
Right.
They got their own shit.
yeah.
It's almost like Black Wall Street a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like its own economy, because even those rappers, they were super rich. And you're like, they're not struggling guys that are just like
Right.
known in Decatur. They're rich.
Yeah. I remember the early on, like Tribe Called Quest, Fife moved to Atlanta. We were like, why the fuck would you move to Atlanta? But then Eric said, all these New York rappers were moving to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then we were like, why? And then later in the 2000s, you kind of started hearing all that shit.
Yeah.
That it's really like a black-owned city.
It is.
I got family in Atlanta, and I still couldn't understand it. I was like, yo, this shit is different.
Yeah, Atlanta, it just made all the sense in the world. And once I found my little community, and they accepted me and they showed me super love, like, people outside of that community started saying, let's go hear this kid play. Like,
right.
like, you know what I'm saying? Because then the Friday, I was doing, Juggler would let me do some sets on Thursdays. One night, the Friday promoter was in there. His night was even bigger than Thursdays.
Right.
He was like, yo, I want you to come play on Fridays. He gave me an opening slot on Fridays. After a while, I was the closer. And then, these guys from the other big clubs would come and see me play and be like, yo. Then they started bringing me into the hip-hop clubs. And it was just like, I didn't go in there and play a bunch of New York shit. You know what I'm saying? I went in there, I played the big, Atlanta records. And then it got to the point where it started to spill over. Like, all the people that came to see me on that little New York scene started coming there. And then I could throw in these New York records, these dancehall records. And then it was a shift.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
Because I had to bring, that crowd came over, and then they would literally be like, man, your set was dope, but you ain't play no this, you ain't play no. I'm like, okay, now they're here. So then I could start playing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Interesting. So when you were in New York coming up and you were doing well in New York, at the time when you were in New York, before you hit Atlanta, what was your aspirations in New York at the time as a young DJ there coming up? Like,
Radio.
what was the dream? You wanted to be on radio.
Yeah. Radio was like, coming up as a DJ, like, you hearing Red Alert, you hearing, I remember
Indeed.
listening to Future Flavors, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Indeed.
It was like, I want to be on the radio. Like, it was radio, but not radio at the same time. Because it was like, radio was like, to me, like the signal that I made it. That was the sign that, I made it. Even though I wasn't every day striving, trying to get on radio, but it was like, once you get on radio, like, you made it. You know what I'm saying? So.
And then Atlanta, how did it shift? In the early stages of Atlanta, when you were starting to DJ, you're starting to work more. What was your goal? How did it change when you were coming
my
up?
goal was literally just to get enough gigs to pay rent. Legit. But rent was bro. My rent was $600.
Yeah.
For a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I was so hyped, bro. All my homies from New York used to come down and they thought I was like balling.
Was the rates better in Atlanta at that time than New York, or they were about the same? Or was it less?
1,000 times. Were you talking about like rent and stuff like that?
No, the DJ rates.
Oh, nah, there was less.
There was less.
Yeah, definitely. It was less.
But it's just less, the cost of living is less down there as well. So, you know what I mean? It kind of evens out.
Yeah.
It was crazy, right? Because I have this argument with my friends all the time. The money was less, but I can do more.
The money stretched a little bit more in Atlanta,
So, like, if I got 3 gigs a week, like, I could live great. Not good, I could live great. I could have an apartment. I could chill. I could live great. 3 when I did that math, I was like, all I need is 3 gigs. I just need 3 weekly residencies, and I'm in. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, but I mean, now the rates are still horrible, but
the rates are horrible everywhere.
and the cost of living is going up astronomically.
It's
in
bad
Atlanta.
though.
Yeah,
it's bad in Atlanta.
It's crazy. Like in the last 10 years, I've spoken to DJs, and I've heard about Atlanta having one of the worst rates. Like even in 2015, I was hearing like there's an oversaturation of DJs.
Oh my God.
And in around 2015, I was hearing this, but correct me if I'm wrong. They would be like, there's an oversaturation of DJs in Atlanta, and they're maybe charging $250 at most.
Nah,
like
dead on. I think some of the dudes are not gonna like.
Hopefully
this,
it's better now, but I don't.
Nah, it's not bad.
Wow.
Like it's still oversaturated, and dudes are still getting like $250. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I mean that's the downside of Atlanta. It is oversaturated, but there's way more venues though than New York. Like my guys in New York be like, bro, there's no venues, man. Like.
I got a question. This is kind of a random question, but I recently saw a portion of this podcast, and Mark Barnes was on it from DC. For y'all don't know that Mark Barnes is like nightclub legend, Godfather of nightlife in DC. Had one of the biggest clubs, Love, right?
Not one of.
I mean, he had multiple,
all of the biggest clubs.
Multiple clubs. But Mark Barnes was there, and I worked for Mark Barnes at the park in like the 2010s. He was really just a smart, charismatic, great guy. But he was talking about he was saying like black DJs, they only like play like one way, either hip hop, R&B, classics. They never play pop music, EDM. They never like open the realm to play more than what they think they should play, or what is like the predictable genres to play in that circle. And I was like, is there room for anything else in Atlanta besides, I don't know, like what the scene is in there.
I mean, I think in general, he's right. In general, I mean, with the exception of some DJs they'll go far out. But in Atlanta right now, yes, that's why a night like Bomba Tuesday does so good.
Right.
Because people want something different. Like I said, I didn't start Bomba because there was a lot of Africans there. I started it because Atlanta needed something different, and I knew this was dope. But it worked because there were a lot of Africans. That helped me because there was a lot of Africans. But Atlanta, just like we said, how Atlanta was just all about itself. After a while, people started to explore and be like, okay, what else is out there?
Right.
Especially with so many implants coming in.
Right.
It started to be like, okay, what else can we listen to other than trap music? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And can we talk? Like, let's hear something else. So that's why my night is very different. Like, I stay away from everything that's super duper typical Atlanta. Like, there's no hookah in my clubs. You can't stand on couches in my clubs. Can't smoke in there, because I know New York clubs that they stopped that a long time ago. But in Atlanta, you're leaving like smelling like a Newport. Like, You know what I mean? So no smoking, no hookahs. You can't stand on couches.
Do you smoke weed in nightclubs or no?
Yeah, definitely.
You allow little ganja?
No, I don't allow any smoke.
No
I don't.
smoking.
Not even vaping. You can't even vape in my party.
Hey, yo, what's good? This is the R.O.A.D podcast, Reflections of a DJ. We're here in New York City, and we have invaded the Sound Collective. Now, I want to explain what the Sound Collective is. I got my man Lefty from the Sound Collective here. Lefty, thank you for having us and hosting this beautiful studio for us. Exactly what is the Sound Collective here in New York?
Modern, state-of-the-art facility with tons of production gear. And one side of it is you can be a member and you can come here and pay monthly to use the rooms and the gear and sign out time and our space. We have a state-of-the-art studio. We have all these production stations, DJ stations, instrument practicing rooms and such like that.
And you also teach. You have classes and sessions, right?
We have intensive programs, short-term programs that people can come and take Saturday classes on DJing, production.
There's kind of a community building within where there's DJs, producers, musicians.
Up and coming producers, people honing their craft and learning, and DJs and all these things. And they come here and practice, and we have all the new gear, so they come and check that out and get familiar. And a lot of DJs will come in from out of town, be like, let me get a day pass so I can just get a refresh on the 3000s and the V10.
And what's great is that a lot of our guests, everyone from Clark Kent to the technician to Camilo, they come in here and they're just holy shit.
You want to play with all the gear, man? Yeah.
I didn't even realize this, but you guys have studio spaces where people can do live streams and they can do their Twitch streams.
Yep. We got a whole green screen set up already, multicam, full on switcher. We also do a lot of events here. We're bringing a lot of outside talent, organizations. We got a big event coming up with DJ City, Beat Source, and Serato.
That's part of our family.
Yeah. We did a big one last year with them. We got another one coming up.
For our listeners, is there any way we could hook them up with a deal, or if they put in a R.O.A.D podcast code?
Yeah, tell me about it. What else do you have in vision for this deal? It sounds like we're well on our way. Why don't you tell them?
You're working with us where they can type in a code for R.O.A.D.
Yep.
And they'll get a month free, right?
Yeah, on our online platform. We have a whole online platform with masterclass style education.
Nice.
Different categories and everything, instruments, drums. And then we have these things that we're launching right now called Pro Paths. So you can choose, if you're a producer, you can take the Ableton Pro Path, the Logic Pro Path, Serato Studio. Goes through a wide variety of knowledge besides just stuff in that skill set and discipline.
So our R.O.A.D listeners, if you're in New York, you can check out their facility. You can do a day pass, a week pass, a monthly pass. You can check out their site. You have access to all the education online.
Soundcollective.com. We also have a YouTube channel that has some of our content from the educational courses, and all of our events are live streamed and put up there.
I hope we can come back here and use your facilities again.
Looking forward to it.
Shout to Lefty and the Sound Collective. Thank you so much.
What was your intention behind taking the hookahs away and the smoke away? Well, the smoke, you just didn't want people smelling like cigarettes.
I just wanted something different, because
but the hookah destroys the vibe.
1000%. And I just wanted to take away from the typical Atlanta club experience. When I told people this is something different, I wanted it to be different in every aspect.
When did hookah become a staple in Atlanta nightlife?
Man.
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Over 10 years?
Well, in New York, it's been over 10 years.
Maybe just about 10 years.
Really?
Maybe a little under, maybe 2016. Yeah, maybe about 10 years.
But during the pandemic, this shit exploded during the pandemic.
Because they had to, right?
Yeah, but
in New York, you're saying, not in Atlanta. I'm just
saying, in New
curious.
York, it definitely exploded in the pandemic.
I hear DJs complaining about hookah in nightlife, in Atlanta nightlife for a decade maybe now.
The thing is with Atlanta DJs, the bad thing about it is they complain, but they don't do nothing. So it's bro, you can change your circumstances, right? You don't have to DJ for this promoter. If he's not paying you on time, if he doesn't put you on the flyer, because that was a thing in Atlanta for a long time. They ain't even put DJs on the flyer.
Right.
They didn't put your name, your picture, nothing. You don't like that, you could go do your own thing. You could go DJ for somewhere else. You could,
because they have enough influx of DJs that can replace you.
Right.
But I also think in the 2010s, and I could be wrong, nightclub owners were very anti. They didn't want to blow a DJ up anymore. Because they were,
you know what it was? It was
because
after
the formula back in the day was you get a great DJ, you put them on the flyers, they end up bringing a crowd. People recognize the DJ, but then the DJ gets so big, they start asking for more money. They become this prima donna, and then they do it again. The next one becomes a prima donna, and then I think by 2010, the club owners were like, "We're gonna stop fucking
promoting
these DJs."
Nah, you know what it was?
What was
after
it?
the recession.
Yeah.
basically
The recession, 2008.
2008. What happened is that they can't rely on the DJ staying there every single week.
That's what it was.
So now, the DJ that you're counting on, he's got another gig and he's getting way more money, so he's not going to be there. So when they come to the club and he's not there, you're bricking.
Right.
Catch what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I think that's both. I think it's kind of the same
It
thing.
is a little bit of,
Yeah, because it's like he's going to get so big, he's going to need that bread, so he's going to get
yeah, but you want
somewhere else.
your DJ to be lit because that makes your club better.
But when he's that lit, other cities want him. Right? Yeah.
And then it
You're
ruins,
right.
it
It's a
ruins your
combination.
party a little bit.
It does.
It ruins your party a little bit.
Because then people come in, they're like, where's Goldfinger?
But then,
where's Kash?
But then you have 3 or 4 DJs that come in on one night and you try to make up for that.
Right.
And that there's no vibe because now you have 3 different expressions. Everybody's trying to do the same thing. Or you have 3 different DJs that'll have no chemistry together.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I noticed around 2010, it was happening in Vegas and it was happening in other places.
That was definitely the recession. And it was like, you know what? Fuck the DJ. We don't care who the DJ is.
Right.
We're not, because whoever's here, the music is going to be on and they're just going to have to enjoy it from there. Right. It's about the spot. It's not about the DJ.
It's also, I definitely think that the rates kind of decreased.
Because they could.
Yeah.
Because they could. Now as everything's costing less, costing more. Because
and they're just like, look, we're just trying to survive.
We're just trying to survive, right.
That's what the nightclubs did, yeah.
But at what point does a DJ say, all right, enough is enough? Like, because the rates have been the same for 20 years almost.
Well, the problem is that I feel like after the recession, things got better. The rates went up maybe a little bit in certain cities, and they were getting a little bit better. After the pandemic, things started opening up in certain cities. Not every city, but I think the DJs they were just so eager to work. They took these low rates.
Right.
And I talked to all these DJs, and a lot of them are like, we shouldn't have taken these low rates. Because now,
you're stuck there. Now you're stuck there.
When you take half of what you normally had,
they're expecting you to take half. Keep half.
That half is the new minimum wage.
That's the new minimum.
And what DJs forget is that these promoters talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, oh, you paid them what? I only give them $5. I only give them $250.
And also, if they get a break from somebody that they're not expecting to get a break from, they're like, this guy did it for. So how are you going to ask me for this? You know what I mean?
True.
And then they just keep you. You might be doing a favor for somebody you have a relationship for, but you done fucked up the ecosystem for everybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But what I would say this though, like what I do like about New York scene for DJs and everything is that like I think there's more of an appreciation for like sound quality and like just
equipment.
Yeah.
But New York is also like coming from Vegas. I feel like the West Coast.
I think the West Coast is really more.
The West Coast really has
appreciation,
an appreciation for tech.
But I'm coming from Atlanta where they don't give a fuck.
I think East Coast is kind of
like the regular setup in Atlanta is a controller, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times they'll try to get you to bring your own.
Right.
And you see, like I don't DJ. I use thumb drives. I use sticks.
It's funny. I was having a conversation with a DJ, West Coast DJ, because when you talk to West Coast DJs, you go to LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Oakland, they got S11 and S9. Mm-hmm. They got 3000s and 2000s. Mm-hmm. So they don't understand what's out there in the world. Mm-hmm. And there was a conversation on Twitter, and this LA DJ was like, yo, S9 is like a hip hop mixer. And it's like, it's hip hop. And I'm like, if you want to really talk what's a hip hop, like what's hip hop right now, I'm like a controller.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's like every hip hop club, like on a national like level, has a controller. Mm-hmm. They don't have 3000s and a S11.
Let me tell you, I despise controllers. Despise.
Really?
I despise, bro. I will not do a gig if they have a controller.
Really?
I
What's
despise them.
What's the issue?
I don't know. I just don't like them. I don't like them. I hate them. I'm telling you, I hate, bro. With a passion, bro. With a passion. I cannot stand them, bro.
Goldie, you gotta defend the control. Goldie brings the controller with him everywhere he DJs.
Yeah,
I hate it.
But you know what it is? It's like I've been through all the iterations. I've been through the CDJs. I've been through all the vinyl, of course. You know what I mean? So it's like now it's just trying to find a way to stay not viable, but just regular. Like to keep constant, a constant.
No, the problem is with Serato, right? Are you on sticks or Serato?
Sticks.
You're on sticks.
I haven't used Serato in maybe 4 years.
Okay, we'll talk about that too. No, but look, with Serato, you don't know where you're going, and like we spoke about, you don't know if Serato's going to be compatible with this controller or that controller or this mixer or what the firmware is or what your OS is.
Or so how you map it out.
How you map it out. So he brings his controller because he knows
it's going to work.
It's going to work, right. And I don't have to deal. Like the last thing you want to deal with at a gig is
that you can't get on.
It's tech issues.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's why I switched.
Yeah,
because bro, this is what made me switch. Right, I got a big booking in Qatar. I went to Qatar. It would not work.
Controller?
No, they ain't have no controller. I was like, can I get a controller? They were like, yo, we looked everywhere. Nobody has a controller. Wow. Either use these 3000s and it's 900, or like it's not going like So I had to use the aux and play like.
But that's why I would bring her controller.
But then I had a gig in Botswana. Went to Botswana. Nothing connected, bro. Nothing. After that, I said, I'm off this. I'm not doing it no more. Now I never have that problem. I give my tech writer, it always connects every single time. I never have that issue. Never.
How long did it take for you to transition over to sticks?
Like this.
It wasn't difficult.
It was immediate.
Wow.
I found I forgot the name of the program. It was so long ago. It was like this app that literally transferred all your whole crate, all your crates, all your cues, all your loops. So by the time I went on sticks, it felt just like my Serato. And then this is debate where you can't play a certain way because you're on sticks. To me, that's you could put me in a hip hop party and I can murder it the same way on sticks as with Serato. I could put any amount of money on that.
This has been an issue on this podcast.
Any amount of money. Put me in a hip hop party. Cause still, every now and then, I'll go do a hip hop party. Cause every now and then. And I'll murder it the same way.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah, 1000%. Please.
So I feel like there's this thing called USB Stick Delusion. And me and a lot of DJs, right? We noticed this USB Stick Delusion. And the USB Stick Delusion is a lot of DJs who transition from Serato to USB sticks. They're like, yo, I sound just as good and I'm doing the same shit. And from my perspective and a lot of DJs, we're like, yo, you sound good, but you don't sound as good as when you were on Serato.
But why do you think that is? Because
it's a different rhythm.
But bro, everything I could do, everything with Serato, I could do the same exact thing.
So the USB Stick Delusion is like, yo, I'm doing the same shit and I'm killing it. And then from our perspective, we're like, you're like at 80%. And you think you're 100.
But why? Why do you think that is?
Because you're playing the songs and you're still getting the reaction, but from a really deep technical DJ perspective. Because look, a crowd does. You see, you got the delusion. No, I'm telling you,
you're sick, brother. You gotta take a back seat. Take some water. You got the back seat.
No. Let me break it down. The thing is, I listen to the best DJs, way better than me. Like I look up to these DJs. I'm like, you guys are legends. You guys are amazing. And I they were amazing on Serato, and I hear them on USB, and I'm like, something's missing, and I can't explain it.
But maybe y'all got the delusion.
No.
Maybe y'all it's in your head.
Nah, it's a different rhythm.
It's a different rhythm. But
why do you think it's a different rhythm?
Because look.
Because you're not doing this.
No. The Serato has certain tools. So there's a prepare window, but you can drag 5, 6, 3 songs at once. And the thing is the optics of it too. On one screen, you see everything. I see prepare, I see crates, I see the music. And seeing everything at once versus having to jot through 4 windows makes a big difference when you're DJing and you're planning the next 5 to 6 songs.
The 15, 20 seconds that you are not there visually with all your stuff.
Yeah.
it takes off from your.
I think y'all got the delusion.
No.
I think y'all got the delusion. Because, bro, it's the same shit, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, I can prepare same way. I could go through my list. I could prepare, boom, boom. I'm going to play this song after this song. And then I can pull up a window that has all those songs I just prepared that I'm about to play. And I can hit them back to back to back.
See,
and especially with dancehall, the real test is dancehall, not even hip hop. Because dancehall, you have to play fast.
Yeah.
Dancehall, you're playing songs 30 seconds.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can do that the same way with sticks. Same exact way.
Look, I believe you. I believe you. Kash, I'm telling you, I believe you. And with my whole heart. I believe you. I'm letting you know. I've seen DJs that I love switch over and they sound like 85%. And only a DJ will hear the 15%. The crowd won't know. But as DJs,
see, I think that's the delusion right there.
Nah, it breaks my heart because I'm just like, but you know what is? I think the optics of a DJ looking at their CDJ is way better than them looking at a computer.
Right.
And I think that makes up for some of the presentation of the performance and the optics of the DJ.
For me, I feel like it makes you a better DJ because you have to do more prep work. Like it's less on the fly shit. Like you kind of more have to like I don't have stems,
right.
So I'm gonna like prepare my acapellas before. Not yet. But I gotta prepare my acapellas and like, cause you know when you start gigging a lot, DJs have this thing where like they feel like they don't gotta practice anymore. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That shit kind of makes me practice. It makes me be like, okay,
interesting.
Think of more concepts and makes me think more. And makes me try to be a little more creative because I'm like, all right, I don't have stems on the fly, so I gotta, kind of like, while I'm making an acapella for this one, I'm like, oh, actually, this would be a dope acapella and da 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 da. So to me, it makes me better as a DJ. It makes me like plan better,
right?
It makes me just plan better, and I'm more. I can get on, like I can. The dope shit about it too is like I was in Botswana, went to a restaurant and. One of the owner was like, "Hey, I was at your gig last night. Like, you want to get on? I could go in my pocket and boop, I could play right now."
Yeah.
Well, that's if they have the correct equipment, like you were saying, that
they don't have controllers. That's another thing. When you travel around the world, good luck finding a controller.
No, but I'm saying, what if they don't have a 3000? What if they don't have a 2000?
They're gonna have 2000s.
They're gonna have, so you're more.
They call it standard club equipment for a reason. That's all they have. I'm telling you, I couldn't in Botswana. They were like, "All right, we don't even have that in the country. They didn't even have a controller." So I would literally have to walk around with a controller. You know what I mean?
I would still come on my controller. I'm not gonna go to the spot and then be like, "Well, you can't play because this jog wheel is messed up." Like, nah, I got my shit here. Plug me up.
But that's another thing I love about switching genres, right? Because I do more Amapiano / Afro-House now, so I really don't have to worry about it now.
See, but that's why I think you're like you said, you're specializing in Afro-House and Amapiano, so the sticks work. But if you had 1000%. If you had to switch between 6 different genres, it's a little complicated on sticks, I think. Like you're saying, the preparation is like probably 50 half the battle when it comes to sticks.
Right.
But the on the fly is, to me, the most important. Like I want to be able to have. That's one of my favorite things when I'm DJing is the on the fly mixes.
I guess the on the fly makes sense if you're DJing 4 or 5 different genres in a night. Then yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, because I'm reading a room, and it's like the rooms I do is like I could play disco, 80s, EDM, house, pop, hip hop, reggaeton, tempo.
I hate DJing like that.
Yeah.
Now I do not like DJing like that. I hate that. Like for me, this is what I noticed, right? When I chose to stick with one genre, because I feel like as a DJ, every DJ should be trying to build a community, because that's how you get a following. Mm-hmm. That's how you really start to build, and you really start to travel. You really start to get bigger, like the bigger checks. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And like what I found is when I focus on one specific genre, my community built faster because they didn't have to guess what they were getting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
They know when they see Kash, they know exactly what they're getting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't have whiplash in the party. Like, all right, sit down, I'm listening to this and this and that.
That's why these theme parties are are, they're succeeding, and they're really kind of like taking over the nightlife right now. I don't think open format nightclubs realize this, that they need themed nights, or like they can't just do open
because
format
there's
anymore.
not a lot of great open format.
That's not it. I don't think there's open format music that brings everyone together anymore.
Right.
Everything is so segregated.
Right.
I don't agree. I don't agree. I think the music is there to bring them together, but I just don't believe there's a lot of qualified people that are able to mesh it all together to make it make sense.
There might be a mesh of both. Because the people that do want to see it, the DJs aren't good enough to bring it to them.
That's what I'm thinking.
You know what I'm saying?
I think what I've noticed is that everybody goes into a nightclub, especially like in Vegas or even New York, in an open format room. Everyone's just going there, and they could be like from another city, another country, and they're expecting what they get in their city, in their country, and they want it in that room. So you're getting a barrage of people throwing you, yo, Taylor Swift, yo, I want Travis Scott, I want Amapiano, I want Tyler, you're getting all these different things. And then like you can't really like bring everyone together. You're kind of like pleasing different sections of the room sometimes.
But that's why I don't like it.
Right.
Cause then I can't can you really say you rock that party? When segments of the party is just getting up for their part and then they're going down and then this part is coming. That's why I'd rather have you come to my shit, you know exactly what you're getting. Everybody knows they like the same thing.
Right.
And I can just kill throughout the whole night.
You don't have those Rihanna I Found Love songs anymore that can bring a whole room together.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, I'm going to play EDM, but I'm going to play EDM that hip hop heads or dance hall people can kind of go along and dance with the white people. You know, or you don't have those In the Club or Usher Yeah songs that bring everyone together.
Right.
It's like everything's so segregated.
But how long do you think we have with the themed parties? Because for a long time, open format was like a buzzword where every DJ, to not get put in a box, they'll say, I'm open format.
Actually, open format came about, in my opinion, when people didn't want to say, it's just like, hey, look, nightclubs come up with different ways of saying hip hop because they don't want black people to come to their club.
I agree.
And
hip hop DJs don't want to say I'm hip hop because they don't want to get stereotyped.
Well, look, like if
you know what I'm saying?
If a club opens, they're like, we're a hip hop club. They're like the crowd. They're gonna have a black crowd, a Latin crowd come in, basically people of color are gonna come in. They don't want that. Mm-hmm. They want a white crowd. In certain clubs that they want a white crowd. So they're going to say mashup. Mashup in the 2000s was a way to gentrify hip hop.
Right.
And then EDM.
We play hip hop, but it's safe.
Yeah. And then,
you're safe here.
And then there was the EDM scene.
Right.
And then everything became EDM. And then hip hop started coming back. EDM started falling off around 2013. Hip hop was coming back. Then open format came about.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of EDM, because when EDM hit the scene, it was like an explosion. EDM, dubstep, it all was like crazy, right? Do you think Amapiano's the same thing? Do you think Amapiano's like here to stay, or it's...
You know what? My thoughts about Amapiano and Afrobeat itself, I think that it's amazing. It's an amazing art form, but I also believe it's the blackest possible art form to come back in a while because it's so coded. Like you can get the sounds, people can pull up the sounds and I made a beat with a little log sound or this, that, and the third. But the aura of it is culturally so identified with black people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it's gonna be a lot harder to reproduce or be inauthentic about it.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like, and I could be wrong, but right now, Afrobeats and Amapiano is like gentrified restaurant lounge music.
Yeah.
Shit, really?
It is the Amapiano and Afrobeats is the soundtrack for a high-end restaurant or lounge that white people dine in because it's basically like it makes the room feel like exotic. Cultured, but it's like the closest thing to R&B. That's not
right. Good
that's
point.
That's not like down low tempo. Mm-hmm. It's always 100 to 120, and it's upbeat. And you see these mashups with like I don't know, like Gwen Stefani
Right.
or Khalees Milkshake over Amapiano and Afrobeat songs. They can easily take any Drake song and put it on make an Afrobeats Amapiano remix.
Oh, that's really interesting. I
And
never looked at it.
Yeah, and they can play it in the background, and people can kind of dine. And I literally, when I see these mashups or these blends of like pop music with Amapiano, I'm like, oh, that's for a restaurant. That's literally for a lounge, because you ain't playing that shit at your Amapiano, you know.
Nah.
Yeah, any real Amapiano DJ is not playing.
So you're saying it could be bastardized to where it's like
No, it's gentrified. But the one thing that's getting taken from black music,
Right.
on a global scale, is Afro-House.
1000%.
It's almost like the face of Afro-House is not
Black people.
an African.
Right. That's 1000%.
oh wow, I didn't.
Yeah,
this is eye opening to
The
me.
biggest Afro-House hit is Move,
I know that move. I know
and it's
that
from
song.
Adam Port, Kind Music. And you know, there's a conversation I have with MoMA a lot about gentrified Afro-House.
I mean, you go to Miami, Afro-House is all over Miami, and
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen really, like, maybe with the exception of one, I don't really see black DJs in those spots playing it. It's all white DJs.
Yeah, Afro-House for like white EDM or dance crowds, it's become the soundtrack for Tulum, Burning
Ibiza.
Man,
Ibiza.
Ibiza.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, this is eye opening.
But that's why I ask: is what's happening with Amapiano Afro-House the same thing that happened with House? Started in a black zone and went skyrocketed when
yeah.
everybody else started listening to it.
It went to Europe, and it became Eurohouse, and you know. And
So that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
So what's the fate of Amapiano and Afro-House?
But because of the internet, it's just happening way faster. It's just happening instantaneously.
Wow, I really had no idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
like
Yeah.
a part of me wants to call up MoMA right now because but he wants to speak about this very urgently.
Hey yo,
Yeah.
let's do it.
He's in Africa right now.
Yeah. I mean, but it's 1000%. It's 1000%.
I had no idea. And, you know, I'm looking at it like culturally. I'm thinking that this is like the blackest music out. You know what I mean? Like everything about the sensibilities and everything. And it's not something I think that can be
Listen, Afro-House is Williamsburg right now, bro.
really.
Yeah. it's
Maybe
not-
I just wasn't informed about that.
Yeah,
That's-
it's gentrified
that's
like a
amazing.
motherfucker right now. That's what I want to know. So then, what happens to it now? Like, what happens? Like,
Well, who was the face of Afro-House? And for me, it was Black Coffee.
yeah, for me, it still is.
Yeah. But
him and Shimza, to me, those are the two. To me, those are like my two favorite. Those are the.
But be honest right now, on a global scale, who is the face of Afro-House? Yeah. It's hard to
It's
say.
not us. But it's not us too. Like even the spaces though. Like, look who Shimza and Coffee's playing for. Majority of the time,
Right.
it's not even black people. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. This is
Yeah.
actually very eye opening.
But this is,
Like, look at the venues that book them. Like, look at the venues. Matter of fact, you can go on YouTube right now and Google Afro-House, live Afro-House mix. Majority of those DJs are not going to be black.
right.
I did not know that.
Yeah, majority of DJs are not
So how do you
black.
combat that with your party? How do you combat that with your ethos and your whole situation?
To be honest, I don't know how I can combat that, to be honest. You know, like all I can do is give a dope party, a doper experience, and I can give opportunities to DJs that I think are dope.
But he is combating that. He actually is combating that.
Yeah. Just me
like,
being me.
him creating Bomba Tuesday is him taking control of the music that he loves and how it's being showcased to the city that he loves and the people that he loves.
Right.
And they hear it. And that's why they keep coming back.
Right.
Right? So I think what you're doing is already combating that. But it's one of those things is, look, when music becomes global, you can't control
You can't.
who's gonna absorb it and who's gonna make it. It's like when Little Baby goes multi-platinum, or Little Uzi, or like, you know, any hip hop artist, you know, it could be the most street black artist, but if they go multi-platinum, the majority of their listeners are going to be white.
But in a sense too, right? Like it's bittersweet because in order for music to grow,
Yes.
other people have to listen to it too. So it's like it's a weird dichotomy. Like
Right.
But you're making African music Africa alone can subside the music. I mean, they can.
This is true. I mean,
they have enough people in Africa that can actually champion the music to where you really don't need to have any other influence to.
This is true, but then the question comes up: do you only, as a musician, do you only want your music played in one place?
You have to look at the consumer. Who is the majority consumer in the world? Who is the consumer that will spend the money to travel, buy tickets?
Disposable income.
Has the disposable income.
So is this a financial argument or artistic argument?
I think it's
Both.
a combination of everything, you know?
Yo, I'm depressed right now. This shit depressed the shit out of me
Here's my thing. Here's my thing, right? I'm all for other races, other cultures, everybody listening to black music. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think music is for everybody. But then when you have the nightclubs that intentionally don't book black DJs or intentionally try to keep out the black crowd and you're playing black music, I think that's when it's really an issue. You know what I'm saying? I think that's when it's something you're like. Then it becomes that we're open format.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know what I'm
so
saying?
tell me this. Is there a similar situation happening to where maybe reggaeton or dembow or something like that?
I mean, this is the thing. This is the scary part. When music or scenes or genres get gentrified, like reggaeton, they become huge.
Right.
But then they become trendy, and trends kind of end. It doesn't mean the genre ends, but the trend of that genre being huge ends.
Right.
So on a pop level, on a open format level,
Right.
when was the last crossover reggaeton hit that really hit?
Right.
And we were still playing like in open format room. People might still be playing Debote and Bad Bunny, Gaita. They may be not playing some of the new Karol G, like 57 or anything this, you know, or fade music in an open format setting. But that doesn't mean that those Latin genres aren't growing and they're not getting bigger. Like you're seeing more, like you said, specialized themed Latin parties growing, like in Atlanta with EU, right? He has a huge Latin party and it's just growing to the point of like he has multiple Latin nights.
Right.
And it's the same thing with any genre. So like even if Afro-House becomes huge and it becomes trendy for the next 3-4 years and it falls out, Afro-House will continue to grow as its own genre and it'll still evolve.
Yeah.
Just like Afro beats or Amapiano. It'll still go on.
Yeah, I mean, especially because in South Africa, like house is king. Like house is the number one genre. Like house, Amapiano, like that is the genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like whether the rest of the world plays it or not, they're still gonna play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I said, I think the real issue becomes when you intentionally box out the people who invented it or the people who started it or however you want to look at it. That's when I feel like it's an issue.
Yeah, that shit is depressing, bro. I had no idea, man.
And here's the thing: I claim ignorance with Kind Music, Adam Port. You know, like I claim ignorance on like their come up into the scene. I don't know, you know, how devoted they've been to the Afro-House scene. I don't know their connections and alignment.
Because in all fairness, I don't think those guys are racist, or I don't think like their intention is to box people out. But I think certain venues, you're gonna go to certain countries where they like black music but might not like black people. So they're gonna get the closest thing to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I said, it's all fun, it's all good. You could listen to whatever music you want, but when you intentionally box a certain amount of certain people out, I think that's when it becomes crazy. Because I hear that conversation in Miami. In Miami, they're like, the black guys who play Afro-House, they're like, these places won't book us.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this is what I hear from them. This is their...
Because you're booking them at your party.
Yeah,
at
I
Bomba
speak to them.
Tuesdays.
They'll say, hey, can I do a set? Or what Afro-House is popping there? Or what Amapiano, because they won't book us here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I hear that. I'm not on the scene, so I can't say like, oh yeah, that's super duper true. But this is their complaint.
No, I'm telling you, like Afro-House has a whole gentrified like subcategory, subgenre,
Right.
of like the Kings of Leon on Afro-House song.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
or you know,
Wow, yo.
like like
I had no idea.
Yeah, they'll have like, you know, all kinds of pop music that they're just acapellas that they're putting on Afro-House. It's like endless. Like they'll have a Katy Perry acapella or a song on an Afro-House version.
Even rap songs.
Yeah, everything.
Everything.
There's this whole other world outside of your world.
Yeah, like I said, man, I think music is for everybody, but enjoying it has to be for everybody too. Like the venues, the places, the spaces. You know,
because like even at your like Bomba Tuesdays is authentically an Amapiano, Afro-House, and Afro beats, and you probably sprinkle in dance hall, soca. No, not at all.
Nah, and I'm Caribbean.
Right?
Wow.
How does the African crowd and community feel about you being Haitian, but you representing, representing them?
I've never really gotten pushback about it. Like, you know, you got maybe one person that's probably like a hate, but they're a DJ too, so they hating that.
Right.
I'm in the spot because one person that I did hear say something, they're not South African themselves. So you know what I'm saying? But in general, it's been all love.
It would,
you know what I'm saying?
It would be the most obvious thing to hate. If I had to hate, I would double down on that. You know what I mean?
That's a slippery slope though, because I mean, I feel like nothing's more duplicated than Black American culture. And if you mad at me doing that, then nobody in your country could do Black American culture. Nobody in your country could rap like house music, like you know. And so if you're gonna punish me for being Haitian and pioneering, leading the charge for Amapiano in my city, then in your city where you come from or your country, then
What are you pushing? Like,
yeah, you can't listen to rap, you can't like house music because that's all Black Americans,
right?
You know what I mean?
Do you feel that division kind of happening more?
I don't
amongst like Black Americans and like Black immigrants or Africans.
Nah,
or
I don't.
Caribbean
I don't. Like at Bamba, I more so get South Africans and like Africans in general just saying like, shout out to you for giving us a space. It's in a nice area,
Right.
You know what I mean, and taking pride in presenting our culture. You know what I mean? Because I'm a firm believer that Black music anywhere is my culture. Once I'm Black, it's my culture. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I'm Haitian. If it's Jamaican music, it's my culture. If it's Trini music, it's my culture because Black culture anywhere is my culture. That's how I feel. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, and that's how I've been received in my experience. Everybody's like, bro, before you Haitian, you African. So thank you for representing us right. You know what I mean? So that's been the kind of reception I've gotten. And that's why I kind of like now it's clearer to me like what I have to do. That's why I'm focusing on specific genres and I'm pushing this one thing
So
because
now you're more purposeful.
Right. Now it's deeper than rap. It's deeper than music. You know what I'm saying? It's deeper than music now.
So before when did you decide to make this drastic kind of transition?
All right, so 2019, it was crazy. Me and Jazzy Jeff got booked to do the Air Force base in Qatar for the U.S. government. We did that, right? And
at this time, what kind of DJ were you?
Open format. You know what I mean?
Name some of the genres you were playing.
So I'm playing dancehall, I'm playing hip hop, I'm playing oldies, I'm playing
everything.
I'm open format. Right. You know what I'm saying? But at this time, I'm on fire on the radio. I'm doing morning show. I'm on 6 to 10. I'm on fire. You know what I'm saying? I'm on 6 to 10. I'm doing it in the hip hop realm though. On my station, I was on V103. But 2019, I moved to Hot 107.9. They let me kind of do what I wanted to do. They kind of let me do open format on a hip hop station.
How long you were on the radio for?
Since 2009, 2010.
Wow. Okay.
That's nice.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm still on radio out there, and I got an Amapiano show and everything.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? So 2019, I go do the show with Jazzy, and then right after that, I do another club, and then I got 5 days to chill. You know what I mean? So the promoter girl, she's African. She's the girl who's in charge of everything. She's like, you always come here and you just do your gigs and then you go to your room and then you leave.
Yeah.
She was like, come hang out. So I'm like, all right, cool. She took me to the spot. They were playing Amapiano. And I immediately fell in love, bro. I immediately went to the DJ and was like, yo, what is this? He was like, oh, this is piano, bro. And he started, yo, bro, and I was Shazamming, I was ear hustling like crazy, bro. And I literally went to the room and I stayed up literally I had this beautiful hotel room with the windows all around, on the, 40-something floor. And I just literally it was like a real spiritual moment, like listening to Amapiano while the sun came up in a different country. And I was just like, I listened to it the whole 14-hour ride home, and then the pandemic hit. And then all I was doing was watching like Amapiano mixes online. Wow. And then I was already, first of all, let me rewind. I was already in a space where I was very unhappy with the music. Like I was bored. Like I would have to go do a gig and I would be like, I gotta go DJ. I was like not in love with the music no more. You know what I mean?
So vibrational.
Right.
It just hit you in a different way.
So then when I was in the house, I just had my first kids. I had twins. So that was my first kids. Thank you. Like but this is 2019. Like I'm going through the pandemic in the house with my kids. I'm for the first time I'm like slow down because there was a point in Atlanta, bro. No exaggeration. Anybody that's like knows me in Atlanta, they'll tell you I was doing like 12 gigs a week, bro. It was like crazy for me. So this is the first time in maybe 10, 15 years I got to like slow down and really think and really like enjoy my family. And then I was like, you know what? When I come out, like I just want to do stuff that makes me happy. I don't care if I don't make as much money. I don't care if I don't have as much popularity. I just want to do the music that makes me happy. And this music makes me happy. Like, bro, I DJ and I dance. Like, I'm not Uncle Waffles or nothing, but like while I'm DJing, I'm dancing and sweating and having fun and joking. I wasn't like that with hip hop. I wasn't like that playing dance hall.
Let me ask you this. Has there been any aspirations for you to produce any of the music?
Yeah, for sure. So I've dropped some singles. I just got a record deal with LVRN.
That's beautiful. Nice.
So I'm dropping some stuff, and it's well received in my city. Like I just dropped a single a month ago, and it's called Bamba, aka It's a Party.
Nice.
And I play that at Bamba, the whole crowd is going crazy.
Wow,
they know it.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's dope.
And then it got me more in my bag. It got me more in my bag to produce.
Now you have a vested interest in it.
Right. You know what I mean? It got me more in my bag, which in turn makes me able to charge more because now I'm more on the artist, not just a DJ side. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it was a real spiritual experience for me.
It's funny that you say you're allowed to dance and have fun while you're playing Amapiano because it's very similar to house, how you have to mix it.
Definitely.
Whereas hip hop, the attention span and even with dancehall, like we said,
it's quick.
You gotta switch.
Quick.
You don't have time to breathe.
Nah.
You have to be locked in.
You're not as invested in the hip hop as well as far as with the house. The house, you have 2-3 minutes where you got to be involved.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to really pay attention, and you got to be kind of like attached to that.
There's also like when you're doing Amapiano and house, there's this slow build up. And when it hits, you feel it organically. You feel it,
and it's really gonna test your skills as a DJ,
right? Because
you can't hide behind talking, you can't hide behind tricks, you can't. I mean, you can do. The crowd is more into sonics. Like okay, you could scratch, okay, you could, but how does it sound? Like the crowd is like, you gotta whoop. It's almost like they could close their eyes and be like, entertain me. Like I could only hear you, and you gotta make me dance and make me feel good. Like I could only hear you. You know what I'm saying? So it challenges you as a DJ to be like, all right, I gotta really move these people. I gotta come up with really dope mixes, really dope sonic things that make people go crazy.
I had a question now.
Okay.
For your Bomba Tuesdays in Atlanta, what are the top 5 like anthems, like Bomba Tuesday anthems for Amapiano Afro-House at your party? Top 5.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
I got those top 5s, but I kind of hate them because it makes me sound the same every week because now these records are like so attached to the night.
Yeah.
But
you got to be proud of that. You got to be proud of it.
I am.
Because you're curating.
Because you curated it. You created those anthems for that room.
True.
Yeah.
It's to the point where people come in from out of town and they'll be like, hey, how come we're not doing... I came here, I seen online, because we have viral moments where it's like certain dances go viral. So now people come there looking for these, like, we're not going to do that? Like we can't do that every week, you know what I'm saying? So
but you got it. It's almost like, if you go see Prince, a lot of people want to hear Kiss. They want to hear When Doves Cry.
Right.
So
those songs, definitely Aduele.
Aduele,
that's
been the anthem. That's the national anthem, right?
That's like a Bomba classic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Aduele, Nike.
Nike, yeah.
That will forever be like it's kind of like all of the Amapiano cliche TikTok famous songs, to be honest with you, because even though it's like at Bamba, we kind of stay away from those. You kind of have to sprinkle it in because I literally put on my whole city onto an entire genre.
Right.
So I can't just be off the gate, be like, yo, you gotta only listen to this and be super purist. They want to hear the stuff. They want to be able to do the dances they seen on TikTok.
Right.
They want.
All right. So what are your five? What are your five favorite?
I do.
What are your favorite?
Aduele, Nike. Even though this is not really Amapiano, but it's like, Amapiano-ish, like Niger piano, as they say.
Right.
Champion sound. To throw in like some more Niger piano joints like Sugba. In my joint. Bamba. It's a Bamba. They go crazy when I play that.
You gotta definitely send me the Bamba.
Definitely.
What are you feeling right now? Like what's like your happy point when you play this? Like,
And yeah, what are your top 3 favorite deep cuts that
you're
you
playing?
feel
Oh man, there's
because
so
the
many.
crazy thing with Amapiano is like and Momus, he tells me this all the time. The production is like nonstop. Like
Nonstop.
There's like new shit coming out every week.
That's why I don't know if I can answer that question, bro.
Okay.
'Cause
Right.
every week that changes. Every day like last night, I went to a spot last night and I heard some Afro-House joints I Shazammed, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is my new favorite joint. Like,
Wow.
But that's what I like about it too, right? Because that's another way it challenges you. You start producing, then you hear another producer's edit of that, and then you're like, damn, I gotta get back on my joint, and then it's like constant.
Fam, the producers in South Africa are like they are fucking
Nonstop.
They're just churning the shit out.
Yeah.
It's just nonstop.
I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Yeah.
I think right now, I think South Africa has the best DJs in the world. Like real shit. I think
Right.
South Africa has the best DJs. Like they're very technical. Like it's unreal sometimes. You listen to play and like sometimes it's they're too deep. Like they go over people's heads. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like really good.
The shit they're doing with a 900, the shit that they're doing with the 900 and like CDJs is really fucking impressive.
Really good. And then,
they're
like, they're-
doing it like some old school Eric Murillo shit, where it's like they're running acapellas, they're looping a bass line,
Yeah.
building up the
Effects.
next. They're
Yeah.
MoMA's even like MoMA's standard way of DJing is 3 CDJs right now.
That's how I was
Right.
literally about to say that. Right now, my tech writer, I need 3 because I'm running an acapella on one, I'm looping one, I'm bringing another one in.
This is you guys are like bringing like OG house DJing back.
That's why sticks are better.
For what you're doing, I 100% agree.
But look, I don't want to get into like what genre is better technically as DJing. But what I would say is like when you DJing like house, Amapiano, you're gonna be challenged. Like you said, like there's not many hip hop DJs or open format DJs running 3-4 decks at the same time, and that can really do that on a regular like each mix. We doing that every mix, damn near. Like, all right, I'm running 4 at the same time. I could be running a loop, acapella, a beat right here, and I'm bringing in something else right here, and like, it's like that technical. You know what I mean?
Nah.
You can't do that with a controller.
I can't,
Hey, yo, man, you gotta stop taking shots at the controller. I just want to be able to play, that's all.
Now you my hero. You didn't even know this. Like, hey, I can't take shots at you, bro.
So with Bomba Tuesdays, I recently saw, I was checking your IG and you did a Red Bull sound clash. And it looked crazy.
Yeah.
You had Wayne Wonder and Afro-B there.
I had Wayne Wonder, Afro-B, Ding Dong.
What was that, last year?
Yeah, it was insane, bro.
Who were you clashing with? Who was in your squad? Who was in the who was in your system?
My Bomba, my
Yeah.
sound system, the Bomba Tuesday sound system. I had
So it was a Bomba Tuesday sound system.
yeah, it was Bomba Tuesdays. Versus
And this was in Atlanta?
in Atlanta, yeah, in a stadium, bro. Like
How many people?
I don't know, man. The stadium was
Crazy.
packed though. The
Which
was
stadium?
packed.
Which stadium?
I forgot the name of it. It's on the south side. It's where like where a minor league, like where our D League plays.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The team at 2 Chainz owns, like the
Yeah.
So it's like where they play. But it was packed. It was packed in there, bro. It was me versus EU. There's another party. They're not DJs, but they're promoters. There was another party called Rum Punch Brunch. And my guys like Unruly in them. They're DJs. They're really dope too. They do a party called Mashup Sessions in
Okay.
the same venue I do Bamba. So they're really dope too. Yeah.
So that was your sound system, or you guys?
Mine was Bamba.
Okay. Oh, so all 4 y'all.
We were going against each other.
Wow. So for our listeners,
So basically, all the best parties in Atlanta went against each, and they're different genres. So it was Amapiano versus dancehall versus hip hop versus Latin.
Great!
That's
Wow,
dope.
that must have been crazy.
It was insane, bro.
That's dope.
So wait, for our listeners who don't know what a sound clash is, it's basically a Jamaican like battle between sound systems, which is like crews, right?
Yeah, it's literally what it sounds. It's a sound clash, a clash of different sounds. Like you know what I mean? You're gonna battle. You're gonna see who has the best version or edits of certain songs.
That's amazing.
And who gets the biggest reaction?
It was insane, bro.
Who do you think won?
Me. You know what's crazy?
Gotta go back to that.
Yo, you know what's crazy? This was such. Yo, when I tell you, I don't even think there's been this much scandal, and it was like a novella, bro. Like the way this unfolded in Atlanta. It was. I'm talking about it was twists and turns. Like I stole their DJs from one team, and they came to my team, and then it was like a whole. And then literally months after, there's still like podcasts talking about it. I seen like last month they're still like talking about it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like,
But it was all love, right? It was all love.
Kinda.
Let's put it this way: it's all love, but relationships ain't the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Feelings got hurt.
Feelings definitely got hurt.
Wow.
Particularly with my squad and Rum Punch Brunch. Like they, to this day, we're cool, we're great. There's no beef, but our relationship ain't the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Somebody got to take that L, bro.
I was on their party and everything. They took me off their party, everything.
Oh. We got to squash that, though. We got to squash.
It's all love, but like, y'all don't understand, though. They're Jamaicans, too, so that's their culture. They take sound clashing very, 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 very seriously. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I kept trying to tell the other teams, like, you don't understand. They're Jamaican. This for you, this is just another gig. Like, they take this seriously. This is their culture. You know what I mean? It was a good time.
I don't know, bro.
You got to keep it love in Atlanta. Atlanta, we got to keep it love.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are stronger together than...
It was dope. Like, we had to do, like... It was dope because they made you come out of your safe zone. So, like, I couldn't rely on Amapiano all night. Like, I had to play their genre. They had to play ours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But you're well-versed.
Yes, that's why I won.
Right.
I mean,
got it.
I didn't win, but I won. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, who won then?
Rum Punch Brunch technically won. But
okay, now we're hearing a different story.
they technically won, but
like who votes? The crowd.
The crowd votes.
Okay,
but this is where the scandal part comes in.
Okay,
this is where they're gonna disagree with me, but I seen it with my own eyes. Like
they didn't feel like they won.
No, they feel like they won.
Okay,
I don't feel like they won. Okay. But it's not even a feeling; it's the truth, right? Because like we had rules.
Okay,
and for Red Bull, it was about entertaining people. They weren't a stickler for the rules. It was like, let's just have fun, but we're taking it very serious.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they're letting certain rules slide. They weren't like...
What were the rules? Like
time limits and stuff like that?
Time limits. So like, there was one time, somebody was having a problem with their computer.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
I ain't taking shots at computers.
You know what I'm saying? They were having somebody, and it took them like, each round was like 10 minutes.
That shit was disrespectful. He made it seem like it was like caveman era shit. Like his shit was a Commodore. Like, yo, you and your old ass computers.
But
we gotta wait for dude with the ColecoVision.
So they had 10 minutes, and then to 10 minutes to go, and it took him like 3-4 minutes to get his computer started or whatever. I think it started updating or something like that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So then,
was it summertime?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was
no, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I was gonna say maybe that Atlanta heat.
Yeah,
I think it was November.
Okay.
So yeah, but
okay, then no.
And then they gave them back their time. So that was cheating. They should have lost that one right there. You know what I mean?
I don't know. You sound kind of like a sore loser a little bit.
That's cheating. That's not cheating. That's cheating. They gave them back their time.
Brooklyn's in the house. Brooklyn's in the house.
I don't know.
I know who I voted for.
I don't know, man. He's self-proclaiming the winner. You know, like I don't know.
They play back a dub. That's supposed to be ultimate. That's supposed to be automatic. That's supposed to be automatic disqualification.
You don't do that.
You're supposed to be.
Wait. Explain that. What does that mean? Play back a dub.
Repeat?
No, like something I played, they played. If it's not a counteraction,
you don't do that.
You can't do that.
Oh, so once one squad plays a song, you
can't play it back.
You can't play again.
Yeah, and then we had a round where you could only play dubs. They played a song that wasn't a dub. All this is supposed to be automatic disqualification, but they didn't get disqualified. But it was at the end of the day. It's all fun and games. I'm joking around, but at the end of the day, it was a really good experience for Atlanta. Like,
wow, that's great for Atlanta.
Yeah, people really enjoyed themselves. People were literally, still arguing about this.
But that's
to this day.
And people look. Y'all gotta squash that somehow, because what y'all did for the city is amazing.
For sure.
The fact that you guys could fill a stadium up and have 4 different genres playing with from 4 different
the winners
cultures
are people.
and
The winners are the people that actually win. You know what I mean? The people that you gotta piece that up.
It was a good time.
Brooklyn's still in the house, but
I feel like you started that shit.
Relax.
The Brooklyn table gotta relax.
I'm gonna keep it real. I 1000% started.
See, I already know. I know it.
You ain't supposed to say that.
Didn't Brooklyn teach you anything?
I know BK started that shit.
Move silence.
But you know what I was doing? I was doing the whole WWF thing. I was trying to move tickets. Like, I even pulled them to the side. Like, listen,
do it for TV.
You did the Pac.
Yeah,
you did the Pac shit. I'm just trying to make. I'm just trying to make. Tell when Pac told Biggie, I'm just trying to make some money.
Listen, man, we gonna sell these tickets, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Oh man, that's crazy.
All right. So it is all love. It is all love.
Yeah. If I see them, it's not beef. Like, it's not. I'm not gonna fight none of them. Like, nah, they're still my dogs, bro. Brothers fight. Brothers disagree. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. It's just not the same. Like the relationship definitely isn't the same like it used to. But it's no real beef. Like, it's not beef though.
Time heals all wounds. So
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, everybody needs some time to cool down.
It's 2025, so we gotta do a collab party or something. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. Is that possible?
I don't play. Yo, let me tell you, I really stick to my guns. I don't play no other genre no more.
Really?
I get called all the time in Atlanta or everywhere else, like do dance hall parties, hip hop parties. I turn them down.
Really?
Every day. I told you I gave up all my top slots on the radio and said, yo, I'm only doing this.
Wow,
that's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. But you're purposeful now because you're pushing a whole nother different energy. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you've been doing this since probably the end of 19, right? 2019. You've been
like
devoting
Amapiano?
yourself to Amapiano.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So like 2019. Yep.
And
like it took some months like for me to like fade out though, because I was doing like, I don't think it's really big here. They used to be big back in the days when they used to do like Bentley's live Saturday night and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like that used to, up until recently, that was still real big in Atlanta. Like you do a live mix at the club. You know what I'm saying?
Live broadcast.
Yeah. So I used to do almost all the live broadcasts. You know what I'm saying? So it took a while to like wean off of because even the PD was like, bro, I can't just put anybody in this spot, you know what I mean? So you got to give me some time to find somebody else. So I still did like the broadcast, stuff like that. But other than that, even now people will tell you like, Kash won't do that party.
Do you try to stay up to date on all music, or you don't?
Nah, I don't do that no more.
Really?
That's another thing. It's like a weight off my shoulders. I don't gotta download this. I gotta get this. Like, what's hot in Latin music? What's hot in dancehall? What's hot? I don't gotta do none of that.
It's getting rough. Like, to just keep up with everything because it's so like specialized right now, like you said.
But and the problem is the production, the amount of songs that they come out with is very hard to keep up with. Here's the thing.
I'm making it now. I've gotten to a point now where like a couple of my edits have gone like semi-viral, like on some of the record pools. Like I've charted like number 1, number 2. So now people come to hear my edits. So I don't necessarily, even though there's a lot of stuff going on, I don't always have to keep up with that because they're coming to hear a lot of my edits.
All right, so we're gonna have to get some of his edits for our Dropbox.
So yeah.
My Adele Amapiano edit is fire too, by the way. That's
So you are making gentrified Amapiano music.
That's me.
He's from Brooklyn, not Williamsburg.
Can you send us a folder that we could share with our Patreon listeners?
Oh, please, yes. Yeah, for sure.
That'd be great. Like maybe your top Amapiano songs.
For sure.
Or edits or whatever.
And edit your edits, and then kind of like what are the anthems? If we could get like a folder.
For sure.
Like the Kash, when your episode comes out, like the Kash folder.
For sure.
Your picks. That would be great.
I would love that. I would love that.
That's amazing.
I would love that. I'll send it to you ASAP.
Yeah. So I have a question. When did you start seeing the Atlanta scene become like uninspiring, or the nightlife scene become uninspiring when you were DJing?
I think it happened a little bit before the pandemic, and then the pandemic put it over the edge.
But what was it? Like the music? What was changing?
The music first, I think. See, with Atlanta became like this place you only see in movies. It became like an unreal party scene. Like you can go to a club and see Chris Brown, Jeezy, T.I., just like right here. You know what I'm saying? And then like, so when that happened, it was just literally no dance floor, all sections. And then the music got slower and slower and slower. Then social media became a thing, so more people on their phones, more. So I think that happened more.
Fishbowl type of shit.
Yeah. And then that's another thing. That's a good point. So like the bigger the stars came, people would just focus on the stars and just watch them. And then it got whack. It didn't matter what you played at that point. You could have put any DJ, and that's another thing. That's what made promoters be like, it doesn't matter who I put. I got Chris Brown coming. I got this person coming. People are not gonna care anyway. They're just gonna want to watch Chris Brown.
It's almost like it became like a Hollywood scene, right?
Definitely.
Because that's kind of like how Hollywood is a little. And like people who go to the clubs have agendas.
You sightsee.
You know?
Bro, and
it's like Hollywood is like, when I go to like a Hollywood nightclub, it's like all I see are different kinds of people with different agendas for being there.
Right.
You know, like, oh, I want to go to an athlete's table, or I want to go to this artist's table. And it's like, even the girls are kind of like, everyone has an agenda. And it's like, no one's there to just party or dance. That's not the agenda at all.
Right.
It's to be seen. It's to connect. It's to like come up in some way. You know, there's all these things that come into play.
And I think that's exactly what Atlanta became. Like, it became a place where you could go. It's an awesome place to network, awesome place to build, grow your business. And that's what I feel like clubs kind of started to become. There was just literally no dance floor, literally 30-something, 50-something sections. So
like around what year did you start seeing it becoming that?
Man, a while ago, maybe 2016, 2017. Yeah. Like, it was just completely all sections. You know what I mean? And then now, like, as soon as we got out of the pandemic, I think people just got tired of it. Like, people were just like, and then Atlanta was the first place I seen that just had these mega clubs. Like, you go down on a Friday night, 6,000 people there, like insane numbers, packed every week. Like, that was crazy to me. Like, coming from Brooklyn, I wasn't seeing that. Aside from like Mars 2112, like that was like the biggest maybe club I seen.
Wow, Mars 2112.
Crowbar, shit like that.
Yeah, Crowbar, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, there was clubs like SO, like, which I had a residency at SO, like bro, there was so many. Like, AG had a compound, and just like, you're talking 3,000 people like every night, like every night they were open. It was just.
Do you also feel like the music, everyone was just playing the same thing over and over and over and over?
I think that's always gonna happen. But the problem is the music they were playing over and over was so slow.
Right.
It's not party music, especially trap music in Atlanta.
It became like a mixtape. Like,
yeah.
It's like mixtape energy.
Music you would listen to bag up to. Like, it's not to like party to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
vibrational.
Yeah, very low.
I
very
remember
low.
I was DJing at Down South one time, and I didn't do that well. I didn't do well at all. Like, I was in a region, like, the music was so regional. And when the resident got on, you know, he was killing it, but it sounded like a mixtape.
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody, and they're like, "Oh, we don't DJ for the girls here.
Yeah.
We DJ for the guys.
Trappers. Not even for just the guys, the trappers.
The trappers." So I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, the girls were not dancing. They would do a little like bop here and there. But I was like, "Oh, y'all don't DJ for the
dance again."
Hey, yo.
Don't make me turn around. Look behind my shoulder, kind of shit.
Jamie, get the angle.
You gonna do it in slow motion, like. Cause you know what I was doing? I was doing like, they do that shit. Nah, y'all gotta edit me out on that.
Keep that in.
No. But nah, like, you see the girls bopping.
Yeah.
But like you're like, yo, we DJ for the tables. We
Wow.
DJ for the spenders, for the traffic.
I mean, it got like that in Atlanta. It was definitely like that at one point. Like promoters would be like, "Oh, this guy just ordered 5 bottles. You gotta stop the music or play what he wants to hear when his
They play
bottles come out."
like the whole song too.
Yeah.
The whole song.
Or it was like, because in Atlanta everybody was a rapper, so it's like, "Oh, this table just bought 6 bottles, so you gotta play his record." You know what I mean? It was bad like that. And then I think maybe from like 2015 to like 2019, and then coming out of 2020, like coming out of pandemic, everybody was kind of like, we over that. Because it was like, to party in Atlanta, you had to have some bread. They're gonna charge you $100 to park. You're probably gonna have to pay $100 to get in, and that's before you buy a drink. You don't got no section. Then you're gonna feel like a dweeb if you don't got no section, because there's nowhere to stand. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be standing, just gonna be like, yo, you in our section, bro. You know what I mean? So I think people just got tired of all of that, and they're like, I want to spend my money and I want to have fun. If I'm gonna pay to get in here, I want to actually have fun.
You know, I talked to a lot of DJs, and probably towards the end of the last year, you know, going into 2025, a lot of DJs were calling me up and they were like asking me for advice because they were like losing gigs, and there were less and less gigs, and they weren't making as much money. So, and they were like, I'm gonna have to get a job and I'm gonna have to do all this shit. And you know, I was like, and I'm noticing like all these articles about nightclubs closing in the UK and in Europe, and it's like the young generation does not want to go out into these nightclubs and for this bottle service experience, you know.
I think it's the latter part. Like, they want to go out, but they just don't want a bottle
Right.
popping experience. You know what I'm saying? They don't want a bottle service experience, because look at what Momo's doing. He don't have a problem selling out his parties. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's tons of people. Look what I'm doing in Atlanta. I don't have problems selling out my parties. You know what I mean?
But Bomba Tuesdays, it's not bottle service focused, right?
It's not. But I mean, we have bottle service,
Right.
But we don't.
Stressing. You're not stressing.
Yeah, we're not stressed, and I'm not trying to like be all high and mighty, because we don't have a huge dance floor either. Our venue's small, you know what I mean? But it's about the vibe. Like, you're not gonna feel corny if you don't have a section. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna feel corny if you don't have a section. You're still gonna have fun.
Right.
So I think people want to go out. They just don't want the same old thing. You know what I mean? So these clubs are not innovative. They don't focus on energy. They focus on a number.
Right.
And if it's not reaching that number, they're just trying to duplicate things to get that number. That's it.
Well, they also like, no one wants to change the formula.
Right. You know,
You know,
what I'm
like
saying? Right.
it's like if I own an automobile company, if I'm Ford, right, or if I'm Toyota, and
Those focuses are selling, you're gonna make a lot of focuses.
well, the thing is, like,
You know what I'm saying?
if electric cars are starting to invade, right, like the automobile industry, I'm gonna do my best to make sure that everyone just keeps buying gas cars,
Right. That's true.
and I'm gonna push it as much as possible until I have to make a change, because making a change requires a complete change in infrastructure. And a lot of these clubs don't want to change their infrastructure. They want to keep the formula going as long as they can until they have to change it.
That's true, but that's what's happening now. It's like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to change it.
But that's what we're seeing, and DJs need to realize that it is like there is a forcible change happening.
The silver lining in that is, because we're so oversaturated, it weeds out the people that are not doing it for the love. Like, because only the dope DJs are gonna survive. Like, only the DJs who are innovative, doing dope things, doing dope concept parties, doing dope sets where people are like, oh, I really want to go. Only those DJs are gonna survive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the silver lining in it. You know, it's gonna, all the people who are influencers and they be like, yeah, I can do that. They're gonna
Weed it
see
out.
like, yeah, they're gonna be like, it's too hard. I'm not doing this.
And they don't have controllers.
No, that's the one thing they got. It's a controller. That's the one thing they do got, is a controller.
Have you started like having Bomba Tuesdays go to other cities yet?
No, that's actually the goal for 2025.
2025.
Good stuff.
What's the first 3 cities you want to hit?
New York, DC, and Miami.
Smart.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the 3 joints I'm hitting first.
Yeah.
Man. So last night I was out doing my research. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So
I mean, those are the cities to hit.
Yeah.
You know?
yes. So, and then like I'm gonna do one in Dubai. I'm gonna do one in Qatar. because I'm not in those places all the time.
You bring up Qatar and all these international gigs that you had, even early on, even before the Amapiano, even before you started Bomba Tuesdays. How, like, where did you get the access to these like bookings like overseas?
I kind of like word kind of started to spread, but shout out to my boy Kevin, because he kind of like was the one that was like, he moved to Qatar. It's not many times you see a New York person move to Qatar. He moved to Qatar. He got a job there, and he was like, "Oh, these parties are whack. They're horrible. All these DJs are like terrible." And when you come from New York, you have an elevated taste for club culture. You know what I'm saying?
What year was this? Around
2014,
2014.
around there.
So what were they
2015?
playing over there?
You know, it was very Ibiza-esque.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But he was like, there's no climax of the party. Like, the party's like this the whole night. So he was cool with a bunch of the people, the curators, and he would constantly tell them to book me. And they would never book me. And then one time, one of the curators had somebody cancel on her. And she basically checked my socials, and she was like, oh,
Right.
guy got a little bit of motion. So she booked me. And then from there, because I was on the radio too. I'm on the radio, so... You know, they look it up. They're like, oh, he has top slots on the radio. He's doing this. He's doing top clubs. Then
What is that, like an 8-hour flight? From Atlanta, maybe 10 or 12, right?
yeah, like 13 going, 14 coming.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
So wait.
But
When your
that
first
bag though makes it work. Yeah,
that Qatar bag.
oh, you be like, yeah, I'll go. You know what I'm saying?
So wait, when you were your first time DJing in Qatar, what were you playing? What was hitting? What were they gravitating?
Dance hall.
Dance hall.
That was like, oh my God. It was, I will never forget it too. It was on the beach, bro. Super dope vibe. Maybe like 300-400 people there.
any rules that you had to abide by before you had to play?
Like what?
Like, so you can't play a person or something like
Oh,
that?
no. Yes and no. Like, they just kind of like, don't do nothing crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Was there like a sprinkling of hip hop and
No, none.
just all dance hall?
I played one or two. I seen they weren't really.
So
It
then
was dance hall and reggae. They were like,
dance hall and reggae,
and I just
little soca in there, a little bit.
Not even.
But now, like a dance hall party is almost all soca, right?
Yeah, that is
so
true.
crazy.
That is true. I mean, if it's not all, it's a big part of it now. You know what I mean? But when I
You
first
just can't compete with that BPM.
Yeah, but I just think it's the energy right now. People want to have fun, bro. People came out the pandemic like, I want to live, bro. I want to have fun. I think that's the bottom line. People just want to have fun.
Yeah.
If you can make people have fun, if your parties are making people have fun, you're going to be all right.
You also can't compete when you have 100 to 110 BPM against 150
Or 60. Yeah. You know
It's
what I'm
like,
saying? You know what I mean?
pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't compete with that shit.
And I think the subject matter helps
Yeah,
too.
I think the vibe,
Yeah.
the overall vibe of the, the vibration.
Soca music's all about partying, having fun,
Having
and
fun,
drinking.
get drunk.
So
You know what I mean?
you still going to Qatar now, right? Or
Yeah,
not as
I
much?
went maybe like 3-4 months ago.
How different is it now?
It's Amapiano driven.
Really?
It's like Amapiano everywhere.
So wait, so since 14, 15, 16, like how has it evolved? You know, over the last,
You know, like it's crazy. I found
that's actually been like around 10 years, right?
what going there.
That you've been going to Qatar, yeah.
It's weird because like I grew the first couple years I went there. I really grew like a fan base, but it's such an expat city that like every 2-3 years it's a whole different set of people. So like, and then it's a whole different flavor. What those set of people like is different. Right. So like when I first went, it was very heavy dance hall driven and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then over the years, it's turned to Amapiano, and it's like, I think there's a bigger African population there now because a lot of them are there to work. You know what I mean? They work the airlines, they work service stuff, service jobs. So I think the biggest change is like they're looking at the continent more. They're looking more towards Africa. Afro-House is big there. Mm-hmm. Amapiano's big. So I think that's probably the biggest jump. When I first went, it was dance hall. In between, it was a little hip hop.
Yeah.
In between that, maybe like 2016, 17, it was like very hip hop.
Unavoidable, right?
Yeah. And then now it's I think it's Amapiano heavy.
So you're strictly focusing only on Bomba Tuesdays. So you're not even I've seen you do like a Bomba Tuesday on a Sunday though, right?
Yeah, because like, you know, people that always come during the week, they want to be able to come on the weekends as well too.
Right.
So just to offer something.
Because they can't just go out on a Tuesday. It's a weekday, right?
Yeah. Even though we're packed every Tuesday, but some of my regulars, they're like, I want to be able to party on the weekend. I'm about to lose my job. You know what I'm saying?
I keep fucking up every Wednesday.
Right.
I'm coming to work later every Wednesday.
Bomba hangover.
You know what I'm saying?
Bomba hangover.
So I'm like, all right, let me just do it once a month now.
So you're not DJing on a Saturday, or?
I mean, I do, but I kind of basically like the way I kind of focus my thing now is like how a comedian focuses their material. They go out to smaller clubs and they try out material, and then they take what works and they use it at their big show. That's
Right.
kind of what I do. I'll take smaller gigs, go to different venues,
Workshop.
try out my new edits, try out and see the ones like, oh yeah, they're going crazy for this one. So then when I go to do my Bomba show, it's like I'm incorporating that.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So now
Yeah.
I just changed my whole mentality, bro. Like I'm telling you, like I really just try to cut out the middleman now. I just try to focus, like really think like an artist,
Right.
You know, and cut the middleman out, who's like maybe the promoter or the club owner, and try to build my community enough and make it so strong that I can do a show anywhere.
Yeah, it's like why should I spread myself thin at different venues when I could just put all my focus and have all my following go to this one party, this one branded party that I own, I created,
Yeah.
and I control.
Like I'll pop out, like I'll take bookings on Saturdays and some like Fridays. I'll pop out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's literally for the purpose of me trying out new material.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy because like we've been speaking about open format and how vast it is, right? And it's really like now that we're speaking more about it, I'm starting to like realize that, you know, like Latin has so many subgenres, right? There's Latin tech house, there's dembo, there's reggaeton, there's banda, there's baila funk. It's almost like you have to specialize in a genre because these genres are the new open format. So African music as a whole has its own open format, and Bomba Tuesdays is almost like an open format African music like party, but that specializes in Amapiano and Afro-House.
I didn't think of it that way, but that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very, very true.
That's why like if it's almost daunting, like we said, like if you're doing open format as a whole, there's just so much music to watch. Like EDM has so many subgenres.
Right.
It's insane. Like dance music has so many subgenres.
But like I said, once I focus, my career has been great. Like I've probably done everything you want to do as a DJ. Like I'm from New York. I did Summer Jam with Cardi B. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like as a DJ, like, you know what I mean? I've got booked in Dubai, Qatar, Botswana. You know, I've done it all. Not until I focused on one thing though. Like my career took off on a different level. You know what I'm saying? And I was the open format guy. Like I had the first like open format show in Georgia on V103. I had it. Shout out to Osei. It was to be me and Osei.
Wow.
I was DJing. Osei was the host.
When was that? What year was that?
You talking 2012?
Wow.
You know what I mean? I played Afrobeat. I played dancehall. I played reggae. I played Latin music. I played it all. You know what I'm saying? And then I was that guy. I was the open format guy. I'm like, you know, that's kind of like my story in Atlanta. And because I was that open format guy, they trusted me when I said, hey, this is dope. Like, let's do this. But not until I focused on a specific genre, my career like exploded. Like I built a community, a real following that like if I say I'm going to be here, they're popping out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can sell tickets. You know what I'm saying?
It's so interesting because like your trajectory from the 2000s, like to 2010s to like 2020. It's like, you know, I feel like there's certain generations that are good at adapting. And I feel like any DJ that came from vinyl to Serato were forced to adapt.
For sure.
And then you kind of just learn like, oh, these changes are going to happen like after 5 to 7 years. And we're just going to have to keep adapting and adapting.
But I think being from New York though too, being from New York forces you to be ready for any situation.
Yeah.
Like you go to a party in New York, bro, like you better be ready you have to be ready at the drop of a dime to play dancehall, Latin music, whatever. You know what I mean? So you kind of like ready for any situation. You know what I mean?
It's because you had to know how to DJ for 6 hours. Right.
Right.
And it's like you can't just do hip hop for 6 hours.
Right.
You have to like know that like we would spread it out.
Right.
Pause. Like you would do. You would go from classics to R&B to hip hop.
Right.
And then you have to do a dance hall. Like like dance hall is so important in New York. It's like that's the only time like motherfuckers really danced.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But now that's Afrobeat.
Yeah.
Like dancehall used to be the genre you draw for when you walk in and you like, man, this party's stale. Like I'm gonna make the girls dance. You put on some dancehall. But now that's Afrobeat.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, I can't stress this enough. Like I know DJs love to say like, don't put me in a box. Don't put me in a box. Pause. But you know what I mean? I want to specialize. Like you come to my show, you know what you're getting. Like you're coming for a specific thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it's too daunting. Like
Yeah.
I had to DJ a Latin hip hop party where I was just doing Latin hip hop, everything. But like I had to be really, luckily I was like getting deep into the like Latin music and I do my research, but it was like deep cuts, and I had to be proficient in banda, and it's like, and West Coast Latin is completely different from East Coast.
Definitely.
And it's like for me to like keep up with that, you almost have to be a specialized Latin DJ to like do open format Latin music.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, West Coast is like this. East Coast is like this, because even hip hop is becoming super segregated. Mm-hmm. Like like you were hearing from this Kendrick album, it's resonating more in the West Coast,
Right.
and it was made for the West Coast,
Right.
and it's almost like you're saying where even Kendrick has to specialize and like kind of
Build a community.
For sure.
build a community with his music.
Very much so.
For sure. And that's kind of like, that's how you separate yourself in a world where everybody's kind of sounding the same. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like everybody kind of wants to do everything. Like that's not me. Like a girl comes up like, you gonna play any dance hall? No.
Right.
This ain't that party.
This is
then.
Bomba Tuesday.
Yeah, don't come here. Like we literally have a saying, like if somebody does that, I literally stop the music and be like, do we come here for dancehall? The whole crowd be like, no. Do we come here for hip hop? They'd be like, no. What do we come for? They'd be like,
piano.
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful.
Besides Bomba Tuesdays for 2025, going to DC, Miami, and New York, what are parties that you're DJing at right now, like that are not Bomba Tuesdays, that you will travel for? And then you're like, I kind of want to highlight some of the other Amapiano or Afro-House parties in different cities that you might be flying to do a set at, to just be like, what cities have the poppin' parties that you've traveled to?
To be honest with you, I don't even think like that no more.
You don't?
My whole perspective on DJing has changed.
Really?
Like, even now, I don't really, in my city particularly, I don't take bookings really. I rather curate my own party. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have your own crowd, it's like, why deal with the middleman? I could take this all myself. Instead of taking $1,500 or something, I could make $5-6 grand.
Right.
You know what I mean? 10 grand. I could just do that. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of really don't. So now my mindset is like, I don't want to get booked in the city. Like, how can I throw a Bamba in the city? And I kind of don't take a booking in the city. So then when I come with Bamba, it's more like anticipated. And I can make 10, 15 bands, 20 bands instead of 1,500 or something like that.
I love it. We got to give applause for that. That's great. That's a great outlook.
Appreciate
so you've been thinking about this.
Yeah, man. I changed my whole outlook, bro.
Yeah.
I think more DJs do need to look at themselves as an artist. Mm-hmm. You have to build a community and look at yourself as a rapper or singer, or like, would you rather a bunch of promoters book you in these halls, or you just, if you have a following, you can do the same thing,
right, and
do it yourself and keep all the money yourself.
Do you think you could have done this Bomba Tuesdays anywhere besides Atlanta, or you think Atlanta, it's been a blessing that you came up in Atlanta and you had the opportunity to do this in Atlanta?
I think Atlanta's a special place. I think that's the only place that would have worked for me. I think it's a special place, bro. Like, Atlanta is just special in so many different ways, bro. And it's hard to say that as a New Yorker, like, you know what I'm saying? Because you live and die. I bleed Brooklyn, you know what I mean?
Right.
But New York is not the same New York.
Nah, it's not. So Atlanta's a very special place. I don't know. Everything just fell in perfectly. The venue,
right,
the place, the time. Me watching Goldfinger on the Monday morning. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all these little things in your life, in your career.
It added up to this
It
moment.
added up to this moment.
You know what I mean?
beautiful, man.
Like I completely changed my whole thought process on how I DJ. Like
Right.
the business of DJing. My whole strategy has completely changed. I'm not necessarily looking to get booked. Now I'm looking like, how can I build a community in New York so I could do a show in New York? You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it.
That's great.
All right, we're looking forward to this party. New York, DC, Miami.
Yeah.
2025.
Y'all coming to New York one then?
Yeah,
we are.
definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Yeah, but I wanna hit up Atlanta. I've yet to really.
Yeah, we got
the last time I was in Atlanta, I was DJing at Opera.
Oh man, opera's not there.
Yeah, I know, but that's a long
it's
time
something
ago.
else. Yeah.
That's a very long.
But Opera's been like a bunch of clubs, a bunch of different clubs.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So I definitely want to go back to Atlanta.
The dope thing about Atlanta, there's so many venues, bro. It's to the top point now. Like people tell me, like, I'm playing here. I'm like, I don't even know that. I used to know every single. There used to be a time where you couldn't name a venue that I didn't know. Now there's so many places where you can get a gig at. It's like it's crazy.
Does Atlanta still? You think Atlanta still like holds down the best strip clubs in America?
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Still.
Better than Houston?
Yeah, Atlanta's just it's unreal, bro. It's a fantasy place, bro.
What's the staple strip club in Atlanta? I forgot the name.
Magic City.
Magic City.
Yeah. The thing is, though, there's so many other places that's just as good.
Really?
Yeah, man. You could go to
Which is your favorite strip club right now in Atlanta?
You know what's crazy? I'm not a strip club guy.
You're not.
I was the first 5 years. Yeah, I was a strip club guy. You know what I'm saying? First 5 years in Atlanta.
But I feel like the strip club is the nightclub, right? Like in Atlanta. Or no, it isn't.
For trap music.
for trap music, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many elements of the strip club. That's the crazy. It's like the strip club in Atlanta is really like a businessman's golf course.
Usually it's like food. People be going to strip clubs just
It's
to get
amazing.
wings.
The food is amazing.
Because
the food is amazing.
last time I was in Dallas, and I had a gig there, and I went to like, they were like, oh, you got to go to this strip club. And I went there, and I was like, damn, they playing like better hip hop here than the fucking nightclubs.
Oh yeah, like in Atlanta, but in Atlanta, that's like ground zero for records. Like that's for a long time. That's where records
Were broke.
That's where a record was birthed. Like
Right.
That's how a lot of dudes pick their single. They'll bring 3 records to the strip club and be like, yeah, play these, and then they'll pick those. That's the market research, like basically.
But it's not anymore.
Or
you think it still is?
To a certain extent, I would say for trap music, yeah, for a certain extent, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
All right, well, you got to take us to the most popping strip club. We go to Atlanta.
I got you. We
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
go. Blue Flame. I think Blue Flame is like probably the most underrated.
Yeah.
But it's
Our videographer and our editor Alex Heisey, he DJs a lot in Atlanta.
yeah.
You know,
he comes to he comes to Bomba every now and then.
yeah.
He
He wants to say what's good and show you love.
Yeah, that's my guy, man.
Yeah.
He comes to Bomba every now and then. Comes hangs out. You know what I mean?
Well,
so shout out to him.
Cash, thanks so much for
Yo, man, it's been eye-opening.
coming through.
Nah,
Beautiful.
thank you for having
You
me,
know,
man.
wait, before we end, is there anything else you want to talk about, or
Nah, man.
Socials or you promote.
Just follow a brother. You know, I'm doing some
Talk about
dope
the single.
things.
Talk about the single.
Yeah, a new single called Bamba, aka It's a Party.
Yeah.
Dropped it on LVRN. And yeah, it's a vibe. It's an
Yeah.
Amapiano vibe. Like, yeah, man. Just follow me on my social.
We're gonna end the episode on Bamba, so there you go.
My G, that's what I'm talking
We'll
about.
fade it out to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
All right? Cash, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, guys.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.